I just bought a new Mustang.
It's not yours, bro.
You're right. That one's mine. Alright, so this is our 1967 Ford Fairlane GT. It was originally had a 289, I think it was a 3-speed or 4-speed something. It had a different engine transmission when we got it. So it had a 1976, I think it was, date code 302, which actually ended up being a Mexican block, which after I sold it I found out was a strong one, but oh well. But we originally bought this car to use my blue 66 Fairlane's old parts, because I did the full SN95 swap on it, so I had my larger anti-sway bar, the disc brake conversion kit I bought for it. But when we got the car home, we started gutting it. It was full of everything, the bumpers, the front fenders, everything was laying inside. And the weeds were up. It was pretty high, almost knee-high weeds. And the car on the outside, I was looking, seemed pretty solid. Got it home, started gutting it, and it was gone. And I mean, I think I could probably fix a lot, but this thing was too far even for me. So it kind of was a challenge, and I didn't know what to do. But recently, several months before this, before I bought this car, I had went to Mississippi and bought a 2014 Mustang GT that had been totaled. Had a 5-liter Coyote and a 6-speed manual, and I started thinking, I had this Fairlane with a rotted chassis and that Mustang with a destroyed body, but the chassis was square, and the shop I bought it from said that it could be rebuilt, but they just needed cash flow, so they were just selling it out. So I went to work, started chopping away. And I'll tell you, I was pretty nervous, but I believed in myself, and I told myself, I've got nothing to lose. Both cars were pretty far gone, so the worst case is I'm already out kind of money that I bought, and I bought the Mustang just for the engine and trans, so worst case is I ruined things that are already ruined. Well, it actually turned out great. I'll show you the engine bay here. So it's difficult to see with the actual engine, but you can see these are factory S197, so 2014 Mustang shock towers. This is all custom to kind of blend the two cars together. We were able to use the factory Mustang windshield wiper, everything. So, because like the old car, I think this one, I think it was a 2-speed, so you had on, slow, and high. Now you'll have all the modes. The radiator, we're gonna get to working on this, but a lot of metal work. Yeah, this car is like when we're bored, we work on it. Nothing working on anything else, but the interior. So here's my plan, is to use the full Mustang interior. We already have the dash and everything mocked up. So the vents here are pretty close. They're a little blocked, but the defrost is going to work. So it has the full AC and everything on the firewall. This is the factory Mustang firewall and floorboards. So full interior. The biggest thing we're going to have to do is getting the window motors and everything to work inside this, because I went this far, might as well keep going. I don't want crank windows. We'll have full Mustang door panels and everything. But you can see here, the Fairlane's wheelbase was 9 inches longer than the Mustang. So when I had cut this apart, I built these braces, so as soon as I cut the car, it would slide and keep its rigidity so it wouldn't bend and be completely off. So it stayed true and just extended. So this is just one of the braces. There's so many when we did the car. But we pretty much just cut everything in between the rocker panels and everything of the Fairlane out. So ended up, it was kind of scary, but we used this crane and just put the body on the Mustang chassis. There's a lot of metal work to do yet, and a lot of parts that actually need fixed. The hood for this car is just gone, just rotted. And the trunk is not any better. It's bad. But the rocker panels too, so when we got it, this was solid. I was banging on it. I was like, all right. Turned out this was tape. Someone probably in the 80s, or I don't know when it got painted, they just put tape on it and filled it with Bondo. So when I was banging on it, I was like, oh, and this is typical. My 66 had this. It seems that's a fairly common Fairlane rust hole, but yeah, I got home. I was like, wow. But, oh well, actually, maybe it's a good thing, because I got to build this car out of it. And the fenders aren't really bolted on too much, but you can just see how a factory wheel fits kind of decent, but I did get flares, because we are going to make this thing mean. I want big fat flares and big old tires. The main idea is I want to incorporate all the modern amenities, I think the word is, that the Mustang has, all the nice stuff that makes new cars, and I want it in this old car. Because like my Fairlane, it has windshield wipers on and windshield wipers off. So that kind of sucks in Florida. I have no modes. And just certain things like the crank windows, it's not a big deal, but I have the option now to have fully automatic windows. And if you do own one of these Mustangs, you know that cool feature where when you shut the window and it goes up, it seals better, everything. So it's going to be very cool, but this is a multi-year long build. So I actually do not plan to touch it until I move and get a better shop that I can work indoors. So I don't have to tarp the car up every single time I decide to work on it. Because it makes it too hard. But that's about it for now. Stay tuned on the other builds. Updates on this will probably be several months, if not a year from now.